Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. You're now tuned into CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man DM C.O.O.L. You're now tuned into C.O.O.L Radio.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
That's right. Tell a friend to tell a friend, because we are live on the airwaves at UTM, University of Toronto at Mississauga. You already know what it is. And like I said at the top of the show, we have a lot to get to. Fabulous has found a new label home at Rock Nation. Lil Wayne wants off of Cash Money. And also C.O.O.L said a few remarks about Justin Timberlake, Macklemore, and Iggy Azalea in a new track that he has. And we'll get to that in Trip Talk, plus a little something that Charles Barkley may have said, may not have said. We'll get to around later on the show. But before we do that, I got some stuff to let off my chest. I call this Let That Ish Breathe.
Let this bitch breathe.
Also, a little quick reminder that at the 8:15 mark, we have critically acclaimed R&B singer Kim Davis calling in on the radio show. And we will get to that later on. But first, I got some stuff to get off of my chest, man. So the reason why I played I from Kendrick Lamar to start off the show is just to get some tension, some relief off of a lot of people's shoulders, because a lot of crazy things are happening in today's world. I mean, crazy things are always happening each and every day. This is no different. This is something that we get used to on a regular basis. But I feel like with the end of the year coming by rather quickly, I feel like so many things are happening at a rapid pace. I mean, last week we were discussing the Mike Brown situation and how the officer in question, Darren Wilson, was not indicted for the cold-blooded murder of Mike Brown. And once again, a week later, we are haunted by yet another officer who will not face the full extent of the law. Now, this gentleman's name, it does not need to be said. It just needs to be known that he's a scumbag. Took the life of a gentleman by the name of Eric Garner. Now, Eric Garner was selling cigarettes or something to that extent on Staten Island, and basically cops confronted him, and he said to them, "Leave me alone, leave me alone." Now, he's a fairly stout individual, but also a bit overweight as well too. But most people would say that he'd be a gargantuan or a mammoth, whatever you want to call it. Long story short, in case you guys aren't up on it, this happened back in July. He was tackled down by about 3 or 4 different officers, and one of them had him in quite the chokehold, and he couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe, and he said him multiple times, I can't breathe. But they ignored it, and unfortunately, he passed away right at that very moment due to suffocation. Now, there was a gentleman by the name of Ramsey Orta who was there filming the entire incident when it happened, and once he uploaded it, this thing went viral. Fast forward to this past week, it would be known that the officer who choked him out and killed him would not be indicted, similar into the fashion of Darren Wilson, of him not being indicted as well too. So there weren't any riots like the Ferguson situation, but nonetheless, there is a lot of civil unrest because of the fact that officers will not be suffering the consequences of their actions. And my thing is this: if you are choking someone out and they say they can't breathe, listen to them. But that's not the thing that I'm mad at right now. The thing that I'm mad at is the fact that those officers who attacked him aren't being indicted, yet the gentleman who filmed the entire incident is being indicted. And basically, he's being indicted for the fact that he videotaped and exposed the officers for what they were. But really, he's being indicted because cops are alleging that Ramsey Orta stuffed an unloaded .25 caliber handgun into the waistband of Alba Lechak, or Lacage, pardon me, a friend of his. And basically, this happened possibly a few nights ago, and basically they're trying to indict him on a false weapons charge, but they're really just trying to get him because of the fact that he basically exposed the cops for what they were. And it's puzzling that the jury can't possibly recognize this. It just baffles my mind. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but it just, like, the sheer idiocy of the situation. So you won't indict cops who killed the man on camera while the person said, I can't breathe, yet You want to punish the man who brought the whole situation to light in the first place? I'm sorry, but that's ass backwards. And, you know, if these guys are rappers or any type of entertainment figures, they would be getting the Wankster of the Week in a heartbeat. But they're going to get spared from me because I got that reserved for someone else. But anyways, that's just what I wanted to talk about. Let your feelings be known. Hit me up at DM_cool or hit up the radio show at cool_radio. Coming up, we have the lovely and talented Kim Davis calling in. She's calling in by way of New York, so we're definitely going to see what she's up to. She's going to be talking about the Gifted Music Showcase and more. But before we get to her, we got to play some Canadian content because we know y'all love that. Coming out of Saga City, here's my man, Rich Kid with Can I Get A? Only on Cool Radio. Check it out. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuned into CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM Cool. And now tuned into Cool Radio. Welcome back to the show, people. And as promised, like I told you at the 8:15 mark, I always keep it on time. You already know how I do. We have one of Toronto's greatest exports, right? This woman has traveled all around the world sharing her gift of music, and she's about to bring that gift back to Toronto next week. She is a critically acclaimed, ladies and gentlemen, let me say that one more time, critically acclaimed musician who has collaborated with the likes of Sizzla, Beanie Man, John Legend, you name it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about the lovely and talented Kim Davis. Kim, how you doing?
Wow, what an amazing intro. Thank you so much.
I try, you know. I mean, you did all the work. All I had to do was just sweeten up a little bit.
No, you did that, though. Thank you. I'm good. I'm happy to be talking to you.
Oh, man, thank you so much. That means a lot to me, actually. Ooh, got a dark-skinned man blush. You know how hard it is to do?
We go back.
Oh, yeah, we go back from time, G. Exactly. All right, so let's get right into it then, shall we? So everyone knows who you are. You've done your thing. You've traveled around the world. You've collaborated with so many great artists. So what's new in the career of Kim Davis right now?
What's new in my world, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you know, I'm hosting the Gift of Music.
Yes.
On Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. December 9th.
That's going down. Yeah. Got to plug that. Hard Rock Cafe. Please
of course.
Come out. We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
We will.
But yeah, you know, I'm still doing what I love. It's truly such a blessing. I just got through recording another project.
Okay.
So I'll be, you know, starting to shoot some videos and getting the promo run, you know, ready for that record.
That's so.
Yeah, but I've just been trying to get better at what I do, man. Just been working and writing, and I have a really good team around me right now. So I've just been creative.
Absolutely. And like, what does it take for you to like get in your creative zone when you're creating new music to kind of separate from what you did on the last project?
Yeah, you know, I like to just look at my journal, honestly and truly. I love writing, and I write a lot. I use it for my therapy. I use it just to expand my ideas and kind of think in my head. So usually whenever I'm writing, I go to my journal and I just look for inspiration, and I just try to write what's honest and real, and I feel like that's what people can relate to. So candles help, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You got to have candles. You got to have mood lighting.
Got to have the mood lighting, got to have the candles, you know, maybe a little bit of wine, never hurt anybody.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's my vibe. And just being around, you know, other creative people. I love, you know, live instruments. So I love to have like a keyboard player or a guitar player with me when I'm writing, just to kind of like, you know, get the vibe right. Absolutely.
So basically just set the ambiance for what you're about to create then, I'm guessing.
I mean, you know what it's all about.
Exactly. Now let's switch gears a little bit. So you know you are a family woman now. You're the mother of two. How difficult would you say it is to have a career in entertainment and then have a family at the same time as well?
You know, that in itself is such a blessing. You know, my husband.
Uh-huh.
And he's amazing.
Shouts to Rocks.
Yes, Johnny, sexy Johnny. So he makes it really easy, you know, to be a wife and to be a mom. I can't believe that I have a daughter who's about to be 13. That's just insane.
Right.
And my son Kareem, who is in grade 5 now, he'll be 11. So, you know, I love it. It's just about balancing, you know, making sure that my kids feel like they have my undivided attention, but at the same time, they can be inspired by seeing me, chase my dream and pursue my passion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a blessing. I love being a mom. I love my kids. I love my family life as well. But it's definitely a balancing act with the traveling and with the time. But I think we make it work pretty well.
Absolutely, most definitely. Now, knowing how difficult the music industry can be, and what you've gone through in your personal experiences, if any of your children aspire to be artists as well, what advice would you give them?
Thick skin.
Uh-huh.
I think I would absolutely love if either of my children pursued music in any vein, whether it was, singing or production or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think music is such a beautiful thing because it's such a universal language, and, it's really what our feelings sound like. So I would love for them to pursue music, but I think in this field, you really have to have a strong sense of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And, you have to be driven every day to do what you love, despite the fact that sometimes people may not like it or may not like you,
Mm-hmm.
or, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think the most important thing just in general with my kids is just being honest and being open.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I would love it if they went into music, though. That would be really dope.
Absolutely, and like you were just talking about, you gotta have a thick skin and be true to yourself. Because I notice, like, within the music industry, there's always so many gimmicks and pretenders and people who are just kind of in for the quick buck and just kind of like a product of what the machine wants them to be. So I feel like it's important, not just for your children if they want to aspire to be a musician, but just anyone in general, just separate the contenders from the pretenders, so to speak.
Yeah, you got it.
Exactly.
Most definitely.
So you have been blessed to have collaborated with so many different artists, and just like I was talking about at the top. So what would you say, or who would you say rather, was the one artist that stuck out to you the most as far as collaborating with him or her?
Oh man, that's tough. You know what? It's truly been a pleasure working with everybody that I've had the opportunity to work with, but surprisingly, instead of saying another artist, I think I'm going to go the route of working with songwriters.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I had an opportunity to work with a dope writing collective, and they're actually out of Toronto, and they're called The Starters. I'll just give you a quick background on them. It's Mega Man, who's an amazing producer.
Okay.
Jonathan Gastre, who plays piano. Haley Small, who's a dope-ass singer-songwriter. And Victoria Giovanni, I believe is her last name.
Giovanni?
So forgive me if I messed that one up. But, I got a chance to work with them in a couple sessions. Oh, my God, I didn't even say O-Sound, who's, like, the person who invited me to come, and he's in their group, too.
Shouts to O-Sound.
Shout out to O-Sound, okay? But, I worked with them, and it was, I don't really work a lot with other writers. I usually work with Omar Lunin, and then I kind of just do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to grow as a songwriter, and I was invited to a session with them, and they were just so talented and so dope. And so that experience stands out in my mind as one that was really, really dope.
Mm-hmm. And I happen to find that songwriters are kind of like, quote unquote, the unsung heroes of the music industry, because they don't really get a whole lot of recognition, mainly because they're behind the scenes. And so, like, I feel like, just by you alone giving them the recognition rather than just like an artist who already has their face out there, it speaks high volumes.
Yeah, well, it was, like I said, it was an amazing experience working with everybody I've collaborated with, from A-Game to Sizzla to Beanie Man. And you know what? That's another thing, too. It's so weird to me that I'm not Jamaican. A lot of people ask me, like, oh, are you Jamaican? I guess because I sing reggae music sometimes, and I've done some reggae collaborations.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how that sort of just always happened.
Mm-hmm.
The reggae opportunities as far as, working with these artists and just, I guess the city has a lot to do with that because, we're very,
very culturally based, I would say.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the diaspora.
So, and to me, like, on the music side, it's like reggae music just feels good to me. You could be singing about anything, the biggest heartbreak of all, but it just sounds so sweet,
Mm-hmm.
So, that's one thing I will say that I have collaborated with in the reggae scene a lot, even been nominated for a Juno in the reggae category, but it's like my true love is R&B music.
Absolutely. Gotta have that soul.
You know.
And speaking of which, actually, I gotta ask you, now that you bring it up, I feel like R&B is in a completely different climate right now as far as the mainstream is concerned. I feel like we went from rhythm and blues to what I like to call ratchet and soul. And you have like a lot of these guys like Future and Trey Songz at times, just singing over like trap, inspired beats. So like, how do you feel about that personally?
I feel like music is always changing, and it always comes back around.
Yeah.
So my true love is the soul category that you were speaking of. Like, I still, when you get into my car, it's like the best of Boys to Men. I'm still stuck, like how my parents got stuck. Still stuck with like the real, true, R&B soul records that I love so much. But I will say, I feel like social media probably has a lot to do with how fast music can travel.
It's true.
And maybe more real, true colors are being shown on how people like to get down and the vibe that they like to be in, because a lot of that stuff is real vibey.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know R&B and soul, of course, has that vibe too, but I mean, not to say drug vibey.
Yeah.
Like, you could play it in the club and it's like, it bumps,
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't have a beef with it. I think it's good music. A lot of it I really like, but I feel like real R&B will come back.
Oh yeah, it's timeless music.
Yeah, so it will come back around, and I'm going to be excited when that happens.
So will I. I mean, just like the other day, I was bumping 12 Play from R. Kelly, man. Just one of the greatest albums ever. Let me just say that right there and then.
It's so true.
Absolutely. So let's switch gears a little bit now. So of course, as we all know, as we even mentioned, just a couple minutes ago, you are married to Johnny Rocks, a member of Drake's OVO camp, and I have to know, and he's also his personal trainer as well, but I have to know, and I think the people at home have to know as well too. How often is Drake at your house for dinner?
Well, we've had a lot of dinners together.
Uh-huh.
I don't know about at the house, though. He's obviously a very, very busy man.
Yep.
And he travels, like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple times, but, he's a busy guy.
Gotcha. I think I should just ask that. I've been wondering, does this guy come over to the GT often? Have a little dinner here and there with the fam and everything, playing with the kids.
He's got a lot.
Absolutely.
He loves the city, so he's always out here, and he shows mad love. He's a great artist and a great guy.
Absolutely. So now let's talk about the gift of music, the main entree. All right.
Woo!
So last year, it went off with a bang. So when you got the call to be a part of it this year as a co-host, what was your first reaction?
I was shocked. I mean, I know it's not a Grammy or anything like that, so I don't want to sound crazy, but
yeah.
I mean, this is the 5th year. This is the 5th anniversary of the Gift of Music.
Mm-hmm.
And, the first year I performed, I may have performed even the second year. I can't even really remember right now.
Because you're just traveling around all the time and you just lose track of dates.
It's one of those events where it's like, even if I'm not performing, I have to just go and support because, my friends are performing or hosting or whatever. And it's just really an amazing event as far as where the money goes, which we'll talk about. But it's when they called me and asked me to host it, I was literally so shocked and so hyped and so honored.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, I'm nervous a little bit.
Oh, man, you got the shakes? You got the shakes?
A little bit. When it comes to getting on stage, singing is like no problem.
Yeah.
But now, like, being cute and talking and introducing other people, like, I don't want to mess up, but I don't know. I think I'll be all right.
Listen, Kim, when it comes to being cute, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. If I make quote a line from Beyonce Knowles, when it comes to you being cute, I woke up like this, all right? That's the mentality that you need to have right there, all right?
I am definitely going to have that as my alarm on Tuesday morning.
There you go.
Just to give me that extra boost. But no, thank you so much.
Nah, my pleasure. Shouts to Rocks. I hope you don't get mad at me for saying that. I'm just saying right now. All right. So, before you go, we have a couple of games to play with you, okay? Because I like to play games with the guests. I like to make the guests have fun and everything, just cool out and relax and all that good stuff, all right? So, This game is personalized just for you, all right?
Okay.
This game is called There's Only One. Does that sound familiar?
Woo! Yeah.
I know it does. So, here's a scenario right here. Your record label has pulled some strings and has given you the ability to create a song with anyone of your choosing, no matter what genre. However, there's only one that you can choose. See what I did right there? Who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So maybe social media can help me make this happen. Because I had the opportunity of opening for this man a couple Valentines ago.
Okay.
But I'm going to stick with who I've always wanted to work with as a child.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the incomparable Mr. Brian McKnight.
Okay. All right. I'm not even mad at that. That's a big one still. That's a big one.
That is my choice. He is an amazing singer, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But his musicianship and his piano ability
Absolutely.
and just his songwriting skills. He is the ultimate, I want to work with you. I'll take your scrap songs from you. Just, work with me.
Yes, exactly.
That would be a dream come true.
Definitely one of the best adult contemporary artists ever, man. Bar none. Like, it goes without saying.
Yep, definitely.
Yes. And the final game that we have for you, this one's a mainstay on the show, man. We play this with everyone. I like to call this one, I'd Quit the Game.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it.
All right, so in this game, you are the eligible bachelorette, all right? Now, in an alternate universe, you are the eligible bachelor. We already know you're happily married to Johnny and you have 2 beautiful children and everything. But
right.
Let's just pretend that we are in a universe in the galaxy far, far away where you are living single like Sinclair and you're just living life, all right? You're living life, you're doing your thing, you're dating here and there, but there comes a point in time where you have to throw that away and just settle down. All right, you gotta settle down, have the nice 2-door garage home with the tire swing and the white picket fence with the apple pie cooling on the windowsill.
Okay.
If you had to quit the game for one of these 2 gentlemen that I have written down, who would you quit the game for? Would you quit the game for Denzel Washington or Idris Elba? The choice is yours.
I hope I'm not ruining the game. But because I already have the 2-car garage, and the white picket fence, and the tire, and the boy and the girl, and I'm going to have to go with my husband, Johnny Rock.
All right, you played it safe. I ain't mad at that. You get a cool drop for that.
I'm looking out for me and you, homie.
Alrighty then, alrighty. Kim, before you go, let the people know what time the Gift of Music is happening and on what day.
Okay, so people, please come out, show your support. All the money is going to benefit Music Counts, a division of CARAS, to help fund music programs in low-income, rural, and First Nation areas across Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing performers, Tuesday, December 9th. Doors open at 8, performances at 9. I am performing and co-hosting. This is your girl, Kim Davis. You can also catch Jordan, Layla Day, King Rain, August Rigo, The Flana. And someone told me that A-Game was going to come and perform too, so I'm just saying.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Definitely got to catch that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for calling. I know you're all the way out in NY, so whatever you're doing there, please enjoy yourself. And next time you're in the city, we got to have you in studio for sure so you can get the whole experience. We'll have the ambiance and everything. We'll get the candles and all that good stuff.
Ready. Okay, I'm going to let you know when I'm back home.
All right, sounds good. Thanks a lot, Kim. All right, we'll see you next time.
Okay, take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was the critically acclaimed R&B singer / songwriter Kim Davis calling in to let y'all know about the Gift of Music. It's happening Tuesday, December 9th at the Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Toronto, so make sure y'all check that out. But we got to go to a commercial break right now, so when we come back, we have Trip Talk. We're going to talk about Fabulous, Lil Wayne, C.O.O.L, and all that good stuff. But before we go, we have some music to play of the Canadian variety. This one comes by way of Sunreal, live from Vancouver. This one's called Shit's Epic, and it's only on Cool Radio. Check it out, y'all. Yeah. Yes, y'all. We back Welcome to CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM Cool. You're now tuned into Cool Radio. Welcome back to the show once again. If you're just tuning in, you just missed an epic interview that I had with Kim Davis. She was calling live from New York. If you missed that, don't worry. We will post it later on during the week. But it's always good to catch these things live, man. Make sure you tell your friends to listen to us live at CFREradio.com. Now, it's time to get into Trip Talk. That's 3 topics in 3 minutes. And with that being said, let's get into it right now. We start things off with Mr. Fabolous. It's Loso in case you ain't know so. I'm talking about Fabulous. Now, earlier this week, he signed a new deal with Rock Nation. All right. So this one kind of seemingly came up out of nowhere because we all assumed that he was still signed under Def Jam. But apparently he has made Rock Nation his new home. And on top of that, he is releasing a new project called The Young OG, which will be released on Christmas Day. Now, if you guys have noticed, he has made a habit over the last 3 years or so of dropping projects on Christmas Day or around the Christmas season, roughly, I should say. Last year, he dropped Soul Tape 3, and then the year before, he dropped the Soul Tape 2 around November time, I would say. So this seems to follow into that same pattern, basically. Will it be like the Soul Tape series? We don't know yet. We've only gotten fragments of things to come, which would be, it looks like an album artwork. Will he drop a phenomenal project on Rock Nation? We don't know yet. Only the future will tell. One thing I'll give Fabulous credit for is that he's been able to stay with the times. He has been able to adapt. We may not have gotten those albums that we expect from him as far as, being classic. I mean, I've been somewhat critical of him. I personally find that he makes better mixtapes than albums. I find that his albums kind of sound like mixtapes that are trying to sound like albums, whereas mixtapes have better content on them. And a lot of rappers kind of go through that spell as well, too. So hopefully on Rock Nation, that might change up a little bit. He may come with a more compelling project, more so than in past years. But he's definitely a talented individual, to say the least, and I hope nothing but the best of him. One of my favorites, so we can only see what the future will hold for the future Rock Nation artists. So congrats to him on that. Now, let's get into some more juicier content, shall we? Let's talk about what happened earlier today, actually. This is somewhat breaking news that just kind of almost broke Twitter. So, Lil Wayne is making headlines because he says he wants out of Cash Money. He doesn't want anything to do with the label, and he blames the label for holding back his Carter 5 album. So, I think it's only right that I read to you what was said in his tweets today. So he says the following, and I quote, "To all my fans, I want you to know that my album won't and hasn't been released because Baby and Cash Money refused to release it." He later on continues to say, "This is not my fault. I am truly and deeply sorry to all my fans, but most of all to myself and my family for putting us in this situation." And then he concludes by saying, "I want off this label and nothing to do with these people, but unfortunately, it ain't that easy." Whew. There is so much to say, ladies and gentlemen. There is so much to say. I've been trying to tell people that Cash Money is a graveyard label. If there are 2 labels in hip-hop history that you should never start your career off with or transition your career into, is Cash Money and Bad Boy. Both of those labels are graveyards, okay? Let's just talk about Cash Money primarily, though, because Bad Boy is a whole other story in itself. There have been so many artists who have come in and left Cash Money. You had Turk and BG, who weren't really that great, but, they did their thing, but they went to jail anyway, so that was coming. Mystical was on that label for a minute, and then he dipped. Juvenile was a star artist on that label at one point in time. He had hits. He left, but then he said he decided to come back again, but then he left again, all right? And if that wasn't bad enough, Manny Fresh, the sound architect behind the Cash Money sound, basically, he left too. He was one of the artists, or not even just artists, but people in general who started Cash Money. It was him, Baby, and Slim. Those were the 3 who built the pillars of Cash Money, and they left, and he left. He left. When he left, that's when you knew for a fact that something was going on. And I remember back in 2005 that Lil Wayne was rumored to be signing on with Rockefeller Records. All right. But apparently, or allegedly rather, Baby said, no, stay here. If you stay, I'm going to give you your own label. And that's how Young Money came about. Because keep in mind, Young Money started in 2005, but it didn't really take off until about 2008. That's when they brought in Drake, Jay Mills, Gutta Gutta, Nicki Minaj came in like a year after. He was slowly building up Young Money. And keep in mind, let's not forget, Currency, Hot Spitter was on Young Money as well too, back in the mid 2000s when they first started. So let's all put that into perspective. And now Lil Wayne, after how much success he's had with Cash Money / Young Money, is saying that he wants out. We can only speculate what's going on behind closed doors. But it almost baffles me that after all the BS that they've gone through with that label, Lil Wayne now wants out of Cash Money. And I can only wonder why Birdman is holding that album back. I mean, they've had plenty of success with all the other Carter albums, so why hold this one back? What's really going on? I mean, you can't say, oh, let's hold your album back because we're pushing out Nicki right now, because we don't know when Nicki's coming. Supposedly she's coming out at the end of this year, but they're two big enough stars to have, release dates within the same month. So who knows what's really going on? But for Lil Wayne to come out and say, yo, I want out of Cash Money, that speaks a lot of volumes. So let's sit and wait for this to play out, because I'm kind of interested. I want to hear what's going to be said by Lil Wayne and company. I really want to know, because for Lil Wayne to come out and say that as drugged up he is on scissorp and methamphetamines and all these other things, for him to actually sober up and say, I want off of this label, ooh, something's about to happen. And shout out to Pusha T trolling Lil Wayne, talking about if you want to be on a label that doesn't have the CEO rubbing his hands in all the music videos, come to Good Music. Shout out to Pusha T, man. Matter of fact, hold on. Pusha T gets a cool drop for that. I'm going to drop it for him like this, man. He gets a cool drop for that. That was hilarious. I'm not really an advocate for trolling, but that was done very properly, if I may say so myself. So, again, we will see what happens as these details further develop. And finally, on Trip Talk, J. Cole, all right? Jermaine Cole, whatever you want to call him. This guy's coming out with a surprise album, basically, next week, December 9th, same day as the Gift of Music Hard Rock Cafe. The album will be entitled 2014 Forest Hill Drive. And he released a new single earlier today, and I'm trying to find the name of it right now. Oh, okay, here we go. It's called Fire Squad. And he took a couple shots at some of your favorite rappers and artists in general, particularly of the Caucasian variety. And I'm going to quote the lyrics that he said. So, and I quote, "History repeats itself, and that's just how it goes. Same way that these rappers always bite each other's flows. Same thing that my little Elvis did with rock and roll. Justin Timberlake, Eminem, and then Macklemore." And it's pretty ironic because he collaborated with Justin Timberlake on one song called TKO. And then later on, he also had some words for Iggy Azalea as well, too. And I quote, "While silly argue over who gonna snatch that crown, look around my white people have snatched that sound. This year I'll probably go to the awards dapper down, watch Iggy win a Grammy as I try to crack a smile." And then he quickly says, "I'm just playing, but all good jokes contain true shit. Same rope you climb up on, they'll hang you with." So it's very interesting that he took those shots. I don't think he was trying to be malicious with them. I think he was just trying to state a point. But at the same time, I can't help but point out the irony in all of this, because yes, he is making the point that there have been a lot of white artists in the history of music who have elevated themselves through quote unquote black genres of music and have become the figureheads of those genres because of their image and so many things in between. That is true. I mean, the Isley Brothers used to write for Elvis, and no one knew that. But I find it very ironic of him saying that because of the fact that he is half white. So I don't want to say he's contradicting himself when he says that, but it kind of sounds like he does just a little bit. I'm not mad at him for making that point if he just wants to address and say that, hey, white artists come into a black genre, quote unquote, and quote unquote take the music and then pining off for themselves and get all the recognition, because that has happened before. But at the same time, J. Cole, you are half white too. Let's not beat around the bush about this. My thing is this: I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're black. Don't care if you're Asian, Indian, whatever your background or your ethnicity is. If you're talented at a genre, it could be rock, it could be R&B, hip hop, whatever. If you have talent in that genre, then let it shine. I don't care about your color. There are some dope rappers in hip hop over the years who are of a different race, regardless if they're black, or sorry, if they're a white, if they're a Latino, if they're Indian, whatever. There have been some great artists who have touched the mic. All right, so I don't care who it is. If they're talented, then let them do their thing. Of course, if you go back in the years, you have your Elvis Presley who kind of swagger jacked, a lot of the charisma from a lot of black artists, the way he swiveled his hips, the intonation in his voice, his hairstyle, all that was manufactured through black pop culture, so to speak, which is a reason why artists like Little Richard and James Brown literally sounded as if they were mumbling in their lyrics so that their lyrics wouldn't be stolen by any white artists. So there was a method to the madness in that retrospect. But then artists of today, you have Eminem, who was kind of compared to Elvis in that same vein, but I feel as if though Eminem had to fight for his respect. A lot of people didn't really respect Eminem on a whole until 8 Mile came out and they saw him freestyling and just rapping his heart off. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I did not like Eminem because I thought that was just a white person's excuse to say, hey, I like rap, I listen to Eminem, oh my God. So I see him as an artist who transcended past the scrutiny of being the white rapper, and he actually proved his artistry. But then you have gimmicks like Vanilla Ice, who is clearly just a gimmick to appeal to the black market and the white market. And then, the latest criticism right now, it's going towards Macklemore, who I don't necessarily have a huge problem with. And then also Iggy Azalea, who I've yet to really listen to. But again, I still stand by the notion that the AMAs shouldn't have given her that award based on the fact that it was just mainly a popularity contest at the end of the day, like I've already stated before. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's all I got to say about that. So let me know what your thoughts are on this whole thing. Hit me up on Twitter at DM_cool and also at cool_radio if you want your thoughts to be heard. Now, it's time that we get a little old school with it. You guys already know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that Throwback Thursday track of the day. So let's drop that real quick. Old school with it, old school with it, old school with it, old school with it, yeah. Now, because we are in the month of December, the holidays are upon us. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Christmas, y'all. And what better way to celebrate Christmas with some hip-hop fashioned Christmas carols, all right? It's important to let you guys know that December 18th will be our last show for the year, and then we will come back into the studio on January 8th. And I got some big plans for that day, so stay tuned for that. But with that being said, for the whole month of December, we will be playing some of your favorite hip-hop remixed records. Well, not necessarily remixed, but hip-hop inspired Christmas records. And this one comes by way of Run DMC. Actually, not necessarily Run DMC, but more so Reverend Run. And he brought in the entire cavalry for this one. I'm talking about Puff Daddy, Mace. We have Onyx, Snoop Dogg, Salt and Pepper. I'm talking about this record called, and Keith Murray as well too. This record is called Santa Baby, one of the more underrated Christmas hip-hop records. So we're about to play that right now for all y'all people out there. So keep it locked. This is Cool Radio. And when we come back, we have the Wankster of the Week. Stay tuned, y'all. Yeah.
It's your man, Chris Godrock.
What's up, my family? It's Maliki, your sweet senorita.
It's your boy, Dirty Germa. This is All Mails from the Critics. I just finished my interview at Cool Radio, and I'm just letting you guys know that you guys need to tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. because this place is wild.
Of course! Don't touch that dial.
You miss your diss, you understand? Who you like?
That's right, people. Welcome back. You're now tuned to CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM Cool. And you're now tuned into Cool Radio. Welcome back to the show, people. Now, it's time for the moment that y'all been waiting for. It's time for Wankster of the Week. So let's drop that real quick. Now, Wankster of the Week goes to retired NBA Hall of Famer and TNT analyst Charles Barkley, all right? Now, Charles Barkley is getting this wankster this week because of comments that he made in regards to the Darren Wilson saga. Now, basically, we all know what happened with the story and how he wasn't indicted for the senseless killing of Mike Brown. And Chuck, often the opinionated individual, came out with his own opinion. And basically, this is what he said, and I'm going to read it to you, and I quote, "The true story came out from the grand jury testimony." And then Barkley adds that 3 or 4 witnesses who were black said exactly what the cops said. And so basically, Barkley is making his claim that Wilson's testimony was consistent with what 3 or 4 other black witnesses were saying, which couldn't be further from the truth. And Barkley went on to say that the media is to blame for spreading misinformation about the case. Now, he couldn't be further from the truth because at the end of the day, the media isn't to blame for spreading misinformation about the case. You are spreading misinformation about the case. Not only are you spreading misinformation about the case, but you are misinformed about the case. Because he seems to believe, just based on reading this whole article, actually, which you can check out at thesource.com, he seems to believe that the decision not to indict Darren Wilson was the actual court proceedings. And that wasn't that. This was a proceeding to decide whether or not they were going to take this to courts and then further indict him on it. That's all it was. This wasn't the court proceeding at all. And I feel as if Chuck had this misconception that that was the court proceeding. And this is, very indicative of Charles Barkley because he's very outspoken on certain things that he shouldn't have an opinion on or feel the need to have an opinion on. Not to comment it on national television at the very least. I mean, he's famous for saying, "I am not a role model." And it's good that you don't consider yourself a role model because you would be misleading a whole lot of helpless individuals if that were the case. Stick to talking about basketball. Stick to talking about your bad golf swing. And stick to talking about your obsession for Krispy Kreme donuts because politics and social commentary is not your strong front. This is like LL Cool J making that song "Accidental Racist" with Brad Paisley about 2 years ago. It's not your stage. It is not your stage. This is like KFC making a burger. That's not your game. So please, Chuck, for the love of God, stick to basketball. That's all I gotta say. Stick to basketball. You couldn't be further more misinformed about what is going on than what you're talking about. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about an individual who was killed. 6 shots in cold blood with plenty of witnesses around who saw it for their very own eyes. And we've had to sit through Darren Wilson's inconsistent testimony as to what happened during his events. He says that he was having an innocent day at lunch until he was the one that got stopped by Mike Brown on the side, who tried to slam his door shut when he was trying to get out. But at the same time, before that, you also said that you were trying to chase him down when the authorities were called to approach him by foot because of what he had done at the convenience store. So, Chuck, I don't know where you're getting at when you say that people are being misinformed by the media. No, you are the only one that's being misinformed because you're stupid enough to believe what conservative media is telling you based on what happened to this little boy. So, Chuck, I'm sorry, but you're getting that wankster. Do you deserve this wankster? And do you deserve to give yourself some push-ups as well when you get home after a long day of work? Of course! So that being said, I'm going to drop this drop like that. Just like that. And with that being said, people, we've got to end tonight's show. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Once again, big shout outs to Miss Kim Davis for tuning in as usual. Do not be surprised if she comes live into the studio one of these days. We'll make it happen next year because next year is only a few weeks away. Most definitely. Keep it locked for next week because we have the winner of the Battle of the Beatmakers competition. He goes by the name of Jordan. He will be in studio next week. We'll be talking about his victory, also what projects he has coming in the future, and we're just going to chop it up like we usually do with the rest of the guests. But until then, people, once again, it's your man, DM Cool. Follow me on Twitter at DM_cool and also at cool_radio. Cool clicks the movement, but you already knew this. Keep it gravy and wavy, people. We out of here. Peace.